You've probably come across a lot of negotiation advice that you disagree with. What are some of the worst pieces of advice you've seen out there?
So here are a few examples I see often, and if you Google salary negotiation, you're probably going to come up with this one. Know your worth and demand your worth. People say, figure out what you're worth, insist upon that. And when I hear that, what I see is high risk. It's confrontational. It makes it seem like you're going to be this gladiator who has to strap on armor and draw a sword and go cross swords with somebody in a duel to the death. You're going to know your worth. You're going to demand. You're going to insist. This sort of ultimatum strategy of take it or leave it, this is what I'm worth, is problematic for a lot of reasons. Oftentimes people will go to salary survey companies. They'll find salary data online somewhere, and they'll try to use this to justify their value. And I've had that pulled on me as a recruiter often, and it usually doesn't work because it's easy for the recruiter to argue with salary data. Salary survey data is notoriously squishy. They might be pulling it from competitors that I don't compete against. So I don't care what company A offers people if I don't want to hire people out of company A. So, or industry B or something like that. That demanding high confrontation style is something that I really guide my clients against. I bring them more into a collaborative style. When you're making an ultimatum, there's usually an off-ramp. You're saying, take it or leave it. That gives the other person the chance to say, okay, I'm leaving it. And that means it's high risk. In the name of salary negotiation too, I think another big mistake that people make is they let their fear dominate them in the process. Now, I think everybody who's listening here, you're yourself too, Vince, probably been in transition before where you're in a spot where you don't have a job, got rent to pay, mouths to feed. You're terrified sometimes when you're in transition, especially in a bad economy. You're worried that you might not get another offer anytime soon. It might be 8 or 9 or 10 months before you get an offer. And that fear pushes you into this place where you are too conservative. You want to avoid that risk so much. You want to advance to interviews, so you lowball yourself in the phone screen. You want to put this job search uncertainty behind you, so you take the offer that comes because it's good enough, instead of poking at it a little bit to see what else they might be able to do. So being dominated by your fear, I think, is one of the common mistakes that people make. And this advice, going out and demanding your worth, doesn't acknowledge the fear that most people feel when they're in this process. I guess the last mistake that I'd like to make or mention here is that some people think that negotiation starts when you get an offer. I think that negotiation is a process. And it's true, you begin negotiating when an offer is in your hand. However, there's a lot of positioning and prep work that goes into getting the best offer in the beginning. I'll tell a story about a client that came to me recently and said, John, I just got a lowball offer. It's 30% less than what I thought I was going to get. And this person wasn't a client from the beginning. They called me right there at offer stage with a lowball offer. And I started to explore it with this client and said, okay, tell me what you told them early in the process. Like, how did you apply? What did you say when you applied? What did you say in the phone screen? Now tell me about your interview process. When you talked about money, how did you do that throughout all of these opportunities to discuss money and your worth and your value and the value that you're going to bring to their company? But it turned out that he stepped on a whole bunch of landmines that he didn't even know was there. And it's the mistakes he made earlier in the process is what drove him to get this 30% lowball offer. Now, if you get a lowball offer like that, you can make a small adjustment. You can move up a little bit, but you're probably not moving that offer up 30%. Now, think of it this way, like they just gave him a 72 Volkswagen Super Beetle, and he wants a Mercedes. What we could probably do at this stage is paint the VW Beetle a different color. We can put some nice rims on it, but we're probably never getting him the Mercedes at this stage. They already believe that he's worthy of the Volkswagen Beetle.